कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भुः मा ते सङ्गोत्स्व कर्मणि।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Our next speaker is someone whose life truly embodies Bhagwan Krishna's message of service, of karma yoga. Saumitra Gokhale ji, after attaining high degrees, advanced degrees, both in India as well as in Canada, decided, rather than embarking on a prosperous career with his degrees, he decided to take his experience, his knowledge, his expertise, and to use it in the service of the nation and the world. He spent many years with the RSS in India, serving the nation. There's probably no organization in the world that better embodies that message of service than the RSS. After doing that in India, he then, for more than 15 years, has been a selfless servant of humanity, living here in America, but traveling throughout the country, throughout the Caribbean, and throughout so many other countries as a sevak. A swam sevak means not just I'm doing the service, but myself, my own being, is in service of the Dharma, of the nation and of the world, because that's what Hinduism is about. Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. The world is a family. So the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh is in the service of our world family. And having Saumitra Gokhale ji here with us is a wonderful, wonderful joy. I will ask him to come forward and share with us great words of inspiration.
Pujya Swamijis, other distinguished speakers on the dais, and all the divine souls in the audience. Namaste to all of you. I think in the panels, we have two types of, or the sessions, we have two types of speakers. One are those who are grihasthas, and then we have our sadhus and sannyasis. And I don't fit in either of them. Being a Sangha Pracharak, I'm not a grihastha, and I'm neither a sannyasi, and that's why I think they've asked me to speak in between. The message of Bhagavad Gita is eternal, but my time is not to eternity. I'm aware of that. And the next panel is going to be youth panel, so I'll be very to the point. My introduction to Bhagavad Gita was by my father, who forced me to by heart different chapters of Bhagavad Gita, starting from Bhakti Yoga and then the 15th chapter, which are the shorter ones. That time very reluctantly and many times very resentfully, I would sit there and I would resent because all of us, all brothers, because there were more interesting things we were missing by doing this. But then now I am very thankful and grateful to my father, and I tell him that it's because of that the interest in reading Bhagavad Gita, trying to understand the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita, it all started. So to all the parents in the audience who may be forcing their kids to do good things, I think don't feel bad about it. But when I started reading the meaning, and I once remembered that my father took me to the famous Gita Jnana Yajna of Swami Chinmayananji in Pune. But I was very young, I couldn't understand what was being said. But one thing I understood, that the message is very profound. With the emphatic style of Swami Chinmayanandaji, that really made an impression on my mind. And then I started reading the Bhagavad Gita, the meaning. Then somebody told me to read Gita Rahasya by Lokmanya Tilak, and then many others. One thing that definitely stuck with me is the idea of karma yoga, selfless action. That you do it without any desire, you do it without any selfish motive, without expecting any results. But then my question was, that sounds good, but where will the motivation come from? How will I feel motivated to do if there is no desire, if there is no motive really? Because typically for human beings, they say there are three types of motives. Intention is putreshana, vitteshana, and lokeshana. That the desire for progeny, the desire for having resources, wealth, and the desire for some name, some recognition. These are very common human desires. But then without them, being a karma yogi, so what is the answer from Bhagavad Gita? Then the answer I got is that you have to work for loka sangraha, for the welfare of the world, the welfare of, or a higher purpose, higher good, greater good. So in the Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter, 20th shloka, Bhagavan says that loka sangraha mevapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. So loka sangraha, now entire working for the good of the entire world, now that's a very big thing. Now growing up as a youth, then I thought that how to do it. But luckily for me, because I was involved in RSS shakhas since my childhood, it gave me an opportunity to practice something. Because I got a little responsibility in my own little group. Okay, you are in charge of this little group, 7-8 people. Now I am thinking of 7-8 more people of my age or little younger than me. I am already thinking beyond myself. Something that is not my duty, something that I have chosen to do, and I am thinking beyond myself. And then I realized that if I continue into this path, this is an opportunity for me to become a karma yogi. I cannot say that this is a path of karma yoga. It's a path of karma for sure. But to become a karma yogi, it will take a while. It takes some practice. But definitely it will give me an opportunity. Now I would like to expand that to all voluntary organizations. And I'm sure many of us are part of various voluntary organizations. Because in other organizations, we have some structure and there's some sanction about how you get people to work. But in voluntary organizations, it is based upon motivating people. It is based upon how we can motivate people to do greater good. Now, how this path of karma yoga can be practiced here? Starting from thinking about a smaller group, it can keep expanding until you can think about the entire world. And that's why it led me to this path of karma yoga. In the 16th chapter, the first 3 verses are there, which describe the divine qualities, divine virtues. And if you take any one of those 27 divine virtues, those are all useful while working in the society, in the community, with the people, whether it is in the family, whether it is in the neighborhood, whether it is in organizations. All these qualities really describe a right activist, a right worker, a right karyakarta, how he should be. If we take each one of them, it will explain, for example, there is a quality called apaishunam. Apaishunam means not or absence of fault finding, no backbiting. The first principle in leading anyone, leading a group or leading in an organization is that you must be able to see good in others. If you don't see good in others, we cannot work with people. If you only see faults in others, then we cannot become good workers. So Bhagavad Gita is saying that apaishunam is a divine quality. Then it says that adroho nati manita, that absence of hatred and absence of arrogance, vanity. And how can that be achieved while working in the society? It can be achieved by giving credit to the team. Always being part of a team, having the great spirit of being a team player, and sharing the success with the entire team. Never taking success for only oneself. What I'm saying is that these are small, very, very practical things which can lead to these divine virtues. That's the point I'm trying to make. That adroha and nati manita can be practiced by becoming a good team player. That is there. Like that, all these 26, 27 virtues that are there. And then, in the 17th chapter, there is different kinds of tapas. That you have to have a penance, sadhana. And two I would like to mention. One is about the mind and one is about the speech. And this is applicable in, as I said, in the families, organizations, anywhere. The first one is that if you really want to motivate people, if you really want to take people along, then what kind of personality should we have? What kind of countenance should we have? It says, Manaprasada Saumyatvam. And that whole shloka goes, can you remind me? Maunam Atma Vinigraha and Bhava Samshuddhrityeta Tapo Manasa Machyate. So what it is saying that you have to have a very pleasant disposition and purity of mind and tremendous amount of determination, firmness. And that kind of quality of mind only will you be able to lead people, only will you be able to motivate people. Because people are not motivated if you are always agitated, angry, and sad and somber. People like to work with people who are enthusiastic, who are pleasant in their countenance and all that. That's why having that kind of mindset, that kind of frame of mind is something which is the tapa, or the penance of the mind. And then the penance of the speech is there. Anudvekakaram vakyam satyam prihetam chayat. I'm forgetting again, but that's okay. So what it is saying that speech that is not creating any kind of agitation, which is truthful as well as pleasant. And that kind of speech is what is the speech that a karyakarta should have, an activist should have, to be able to work with people, to take people along. In our community, we always see that many times divisions and factions, and I was so glad when Dr. Mihir Meghani mentioned that for the past 13 years they have had none. So where does it all start from? If each and every person working in that organization, each and a member of the family, if starts practicing these, the tapa of the mind and tapa of the speech, and then we can become more and more successful. So having that greater purpose, and then having that sankalpa to change myself, and at every step, making sure that I am trying to become, or these divine qualities I'm trying to get inside me. Only then we are going to succeed, and that has been my experience. I myself, I have tried to practice all these things, try to remind myself. If I do a mistake, I will go and ask for forgiveness, because that is another divine quality, to be kshami, somebody who is forgiving. I can make mistakes, but can I go and ask for forgiveness? And can I forgive others as well, if they make mistakes? So this kind of divine qualities, and on the path of karma yoga, being active in this kind of selfless work, voluntary work, it's a great opportunity for us to become karma yogis. And my experience, the last one that I'm going to mention is that we speak about Bhagavan, if we are true devotees and we totally surrender ourselves to the Lord, then Bhagavan gives the assurance that yoga kshemam vahamyaham, that I am going to take care of all your needs, your welfare, material and spiritual. And I myself, while traveling in many of these countries, have experienced this. For me, like Swami Vivekananda says, this entire society is God. It's worshipping the Virat, as Swami Vivekananda used to say. worshipping everybody around you. Worshipping the Virat means worshipping the sum total of humanity and beyond. So for me, that is Samashti Dev. That is God in the form of millions. Whether it be some tribal villages in India that I have visited, or small cities in Venezuela, or in a small island called Bali in Indonesia, wherever I have gone, in humble huts to big palatial bungalows, without knowing people, without knowing who I am going to meet, the society has taken care of me. Whenever I feel that I have actually fully surrendered, in those moments, God has come in the form of someone and taken care of me. That has been my experience again and again, and I feel very, very fortunate about it. And that is why this experience of Yogakshemam Vahamyam, each one of us can get if we have that kind of surrender of mind, total surrender in front of God, whichever Ishta Devata that you have chosen. And that's why, as I said at the beginning, that because Samashti Dev is my Ishta Devata, the Samashti Dev has taken care of me. And to my God, in the form of these millions and millions, including the 100 sitting in this hall, I bow in tremendous reverence and continue to offer my service with all humility, and urge all of you to be on this path of Karma Yoga, to be Karma Yogis, because being a Karma Yogi starts by some training, transforming, and then transcending. Let us all transcend to that level of Karma Yoga in our own lives. Namaste.
Hi folks, we have Mr. Saumitra Gokhale all the way from New Jersey to Bay Area, California for International Gita Conference in Sunnyvale, and he has been representing the global HSS, which is the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh at the global level. Welcome to INDTV USA. Tell us a little more about Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh and what endeavors you have been doing in particular to help this organization grow in the United States.
Sure. So Hindu Swayamsevak Sangha is a voluntary organization, non-profit, and we call it a socio-cultural organization. So our main focus is to work with families. So there are programs for all age groups. For children, we have something called a Bala Gokulam. Basically, children growing up in America, how they can maintain their Hindu values. So they are American because they are born here, they are being raised here, but they also want to maintain their identity. So this program is catered for children mainly. And then of course for youth, a lot of leadership development programs, and even for adults. So the program consists of yoga and some other self-defense techniques and what we call it character building. So various programs and competitions, camps, that's what we do throughout the US. One or two very major successful ones. Just 2 years ago we conducted something called Dharma B. It was a competition, nationwide competition, where children could participate based on a syllabus, Swami Vivekananda and Sri Krishna. And then they prepared, then they gave exams, and then they had to go to the national level, which was in Chicago, and they had tremendous experience in Chicago. They learned a lot and the parents were extremely happy.
So in Hindu religion, we hear a lot about some phases like brahmacharya and sannyas. What is your take on this when people nowadays, make it like a social custom to get married and have children, and and some of them even go out of it and go in for extramaritals and stuff like that, in the society today, which is quite corrupt, we see so many things. So what is your take on brahmacharya and sannyas, and how important do you think they are?
Well, in Hindu Dharma, brahmacharya and sannyas, the concepts are there, but mainly in Hindu Dharma actually it is based on grahastha. In our culture it says Dhanyo Grahastha, which actually supports the other three ashramas. So Hindu Dharma is really based upon householders and not on sannyasis. But brahmacharya is a concept, of course, which is about self-control, which is about being in the consciousness of God. So that is something which is called the first phase of life. So we prepare ourselves to have that kind of self-control, to have that kind of character, and based on that character then we have lead a householder's life. So brahmacharya is to prepare ourselves, and of course sannyas is not for everyone. Somebody who is really prepared for that, somebody who is really seeking that kind of life where they are prepared for moksha, what we call as a mumukshu. It is only for them, very, very, very few of them. So mainstay of Hindu Dharma is really family life, and brahmacharya is to prepare ourselves to lead a life of dharma. If that is done, I feel all the other problems that you just mentioned, they won't happen. You have to be more proactive than reactive about that.
I think that is why Gita emphasizes on the Brahma Vidya and the yoga. And the yoga can be like the Bhakti yoga, the Gyan yoga, the Karma yoga. These are the true tenets of Gita. You want to elaborate on them a little bit for our viewers?
Sure. So Bhagavad Gita does a tremendous job in not only expounding, but to bring all these in such a way that everybody finds his or her own path, something that he or she is looking for based on Swadharma and based upon their own inclination and temperament. So somebody who would like to lead a spiritual life, and they'll find something in the Bhagavad Gita for them of these paths and a combination of these. None of these paths are exclusive. There are always combination. So definitely, but the choice lies up to us to choose the right path where we can lead a balanced life, balance in material as well as spiritual. That is also something something special to our culture, where we are taught balance and not just one-sided life.
Awesome, that was very well explained as well. I would really appreciate your knowledge on the Hindu religion. So I have a small question. I want to ask you about certain variants of saints that we have. Today in the International Gita Conference, we have a host of saints, the divine speakers that we have here today. But in India, when we go, we see different kinds of saints as well. You know what I'm pointing towards is like the tantrics, the aghori babas and stuff like that. So explain a little bit about how these came into being. What is the significance of choosing that kind of a lifestyle, that taking to that kind of a path?
Really speaking, I'm not an expert on this particular topic. So I think if you can ask this question to somebody who knows more about these things. But how I see it is that there is tremendous amount of freedom to choose our paths, and people have done experiments, people have led different kinds of paths and succeeded or failed, and then eventually the society, the people, as well as those who know better, they are the ones who will decide, and things that are, they'll be weeded out. If it is something is not in tune with the Vedic teachings, it will be automatically weeded out eventually. But really, again, as I said, I'm not an expert on those topics. So, you cannot take my word on that.
Awesome. You have a message you want to throw out to our IND TV USA viewers, maybe encourage them to get connected with our culture, with our Hindu soul?
Oh, definitely. I think, first of all, you're doing a great job taking the message to the people, and worldwide that too. It's wonderful. And in the age of internet and in the age of communication, I feel nowadays it's so easy to be connected to our culture, and we can find people who are like-minded. There are so many organizations working towards it. I will urge everyone really to get connected in whichever way they like. But it's very important, because living in America as a Hindu community, we need to sustain, we need to maintain our identity, at the same time be in harmony with the entire American society. So to strike that balance, it is very important to get involved in anything what they like.
Awesome, beautiful message. Hope you all have heard and you all are inspired by this. Thanks a ton, sir, for speaking with IND TV USA.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भुः मा ते सङ्गोत्स्वकर्मणि.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama